The Victor V9, as I hope I have shown you in the best way that I can, is a very good vacuum cleaner indeed. Lots of you have spoke favourably of it, of the company, of the whole thing really, and yeah, it is just the next iteration of all the ones that came before, building on what was and improving for what will be. But what am I specifically going to do with this thing? I mean, I get to keep it, they haven't asked for it back. Well, there is something on my mind which I'm going to show you now and explain my reasoning behind why I'm keeping this and what it's going to be used for. Oh, look, see the church look in the bag. Ooh. Ooh. Yes, hello, my vacuum cleaner chums. How are you today? I made sure that this thing got smashed about a bit. Look, there's a scratch on the dusting brush as I was using it. And, you know, even though this was dragged along concrete flipping gravestones, yeah, they were the gravestones in the floor that I was doing with those. Not a problem at all. The tools seem to hold up to use. This is the other side of what I can talk about now. I've done it for 4 hours. I could be an expert on the matter. That's how this all works, isn't it? This is actually nice. Now that I've fixed a suction leak with the DC25 seal, in fact, if we pop this off, look, we can see how it's coated, and a little bit of fluff got stuck to it, but it's still there. I mean, you know, replace that with the right size seal, and there's your problem fixed. And yeah, that is just very nice. If you had, you know, some tools sat somewhere, you could just grab, pick up the dirt and put back and carry on. Yeah, really nice to use. I was whipping it off a lot, and yeah, as you can see, it's not immediately wearing down to nothing. It's not a soft plastic at all. The wands, they did start to stick a little bit. I had to stand on the floor head to get them off. That is the risk with the wands without the plastic. They are slightly different, the ones with the plastic collar on them. Would possibly recommend that, but equally this is again the sort of vacuum where you're going to put these together and never separate them again, so you're probably not going to care. This floor tool has not changed since the olden days of it. It takes its scuffs and scrapes like an absolute champion. Underneath is not even the slightest hint of wear. All that we have is the usual fluff and dirt. In fact, we may as well clean that off now. There we go. Yeah, it's what these floor tools do. They fill up a bit with fluff, but equally I'd rather a floor tool that filled up with fluff. The one that wore its entire base plate away on the very flooring that it was supposed to clean, which the plastic ones of these do, with hilarious results. So yeah, the tools held up pretty well. As I briefly showed you on the altar of the church, inside was spotless. Especially considering that, well, I'll say spotless, that there is a couple of little flecks of dirt on there. And yes, as Steve quite rightly said, over time that probably will build up. And I don't actually know if it's probably is the bags, let's be honest. Just paper bags, man. Yeah, I just don't love them. It's about the only thing in this machine that I would completely change. But then again, you fill these up quickly enough, you're going to empty it, you're going to bash that out, and you're going to put it back on, and it's probably going to be okay. Again, we are overthinking this in terms of my domestic bias, for sure. But hey, we are going to find out exactly what this bag is like when it is very ram-packed full. Because yes, a couple of you have guessed correctly, thinking of replacing Benchy with the Victor. It's a thought that I had very early on, actually. A couple of you definitely commented. And yeah, just for the simple reason, it's about the only way that I can think to use this to pretty much do or die, cleaning out other vacuums and ramming it solid. I mean, we've seen it spin around. If actually, just to show you that the wheels have pretty much, don't hold it by the rotating wheels, pretty much no wear on them at all. And as you saw, this was being rolled around concrete, tiles, gravestones, all sorts. Oh, blimey. Look at that. You best stay there. It's like the camera is focusing on you. Can Benchy move? Excellent. Because yes, Sir Benchington, cleaner of the other vacuums, he's getting on a bit. And I haven't used him that much anyway recently, just because, you know, 12 vacuum, 12 months of Henry. I'm not going to use Benchy. I was using the Mila before that. He's just... He works well, but compared to this... It's the purely practical side of it as well. The fact that I could probably use this at 10:30, 11 o'clock at night and not, you know, piss and over as much as having this going on in the background. Plus, the problem with Benchy is that it's actually quite hard to find bags for him. I mean, the Nilfish bag is as good as you're going to get, but even so, when its part come off now, it doesn't. There's not enough. It doesn't come off anyway. There's not enough space to really get a cable tie behind it. So, you know, I've just swiped my finger on the side of this and went, oh, look at that. But equally, you know, this has been leaking fine sand for a long time. Bless you, little Benchy. The filters. Oh, in fact, we can see how dirty the filter is, can't we? Let's clean Benchy with new Benchy, I suppose this is. We're going to keep calling him Victor. I think Victor's a good enough name. Yeah. How dirty was Benchy's filter? Pretty. And yeah, I think, I mean, he was old anyway. He was cool whilst he lasted, and a little bit of him is probably going to live on. We'll come on to that in a minute. We'll make that part 2 of this video, so that if you are watching just for the Victor bit, you can leave and enjoy your day in just a second. Yeah, I'm going to use this as Benchy anyway, but I will lay papery bag in here until it's either full, it explodes, and then we'll show it cleaning this off, or it really starts to decompose itself. It's been there for so long before I filled it up, which is a risk with this. Benchy did it, even with those smells. I don't clean out certain vacuums with any of them because it lingers. So yeah, this is now Benchy. He's no more or less cumbersome than Benchy, to be honest. In fact, he's better, because the main reason I took the cord grip off, although I really regretted doing that whilst cleaning the church, because this flex is flipping heavy when you're pulling the whole thing. Unlike Benchy, where I've got to wrap it around the top and it falls off as soon as I put it in, I can store this offline almost. I can just loop it up nicely, little cable tie, hang it on a hook. This can go in the bottom of the cupboard, and I'm going to hang the tools up on the back of the door very nicely indeed. I think it'll work quite well, and well, we'll use him as and when, and we'll see how many years until I decide to replace him, or he breaks, or never, and he keeps going, because it's always nice when people send me things. I like to do my best to, you know, thank them for the value. I mean, this has a value attributed to it. I have to try and get them their money's worth. So the Victor V9 is going to stick around For a while we shall work out whether the paper bag arrangement is perhaps flawed in some way by really abusing the heck out of it. And we should probably actually start not with Benchy, but with the DC-17. Because these have both not really been touched since we got back the other day from the church, because I don't drive my car very much at the minute. They've just been happily sat in the boot, and I would like to empty on it and fully show you how ye old DC-17 did. The sad thing is that I appear to have broken the chassis again in moving it around, and I did epoxy it, using the same epoxy actually that we used on the Shark, and it hasn't taken at all. So DC-17 is in a minute out of action, which is a little bit of a pain, but equally I've got nothing really to use it for. We need to find a chassis, I think, and finding a chassis in the UK is going to be difficult. So I think the other thing that I'm going to have to do is strip it all back down again to just the chassis and brace it somehow. I don't care what it looks like. I like using it too much. My favouriteest deep cleaning vacuum is out of action, and again it's my fault because I put it in the car forgetting that I'd ever glued it up, and yeah, once it goes again, it goes again. Oh my word. I was sort of expecting this to do a little bit more. I won't say better, I'll say more. I think it actually goes to show that that carpet, most of this is from the rugs. The actual altar carpet itself I think is either so old or the type of carpet that just doesn't hold dirt. But all I really picked up was fine sand, literally soil from the carpet. It wasn't really any fluff to rake up. I think most of the fluff came from those random normal rugs that were lying around. So let's get this up. One of the other slight oddities about the DC-17 is that the filter doesn't seem to get dirty. I mean, I've used this a lot at home, with mum's, in that church, and the only dirt that's in there is the dirt that I never got off the first time because I think it was cement dust. Yeah, this filter is spotless. It's amazing, really. These must somehow work better. I'm sure I've seen pictures of these in the normal Dyson used state that they are before. Mine must just be getting away with it. Although the other reason that I think mine is going to last a little bit longer, and to prove the point, I'm going to lean over and pop my light on to show you in there. Look, good. Ooh, what is that? Oh, it's just dust. The reason that this is probably going to have a bit long left is because I also do this to it. And by doing that, literally every time I go to put it away, because this will be in storage for a fair old while now, especially until I fix it. It's probably what avoids it from dying completely. It certainly still suffers from diatonitis, that is, the holding of the fine dust that should really go in the bin to be thrown out. I mean, I don't quite know what the appeal really is. It is convenience, and hey, occasionally they make a really good vacuum cleaner. So that is the Victor part pretty much done. What I want to do now is, well, I still want a little bit of Benchy. What I want is his brain. And once very simply stripped down, what I want is this, Benchy's beating heart, because I don't think most of its problems were the motor. I think most of its issues were just the fact that it's a worn out shell. Half the screws don't torque up anymore. It's just old, worn out, and had its due. What could do with a better motor though is the old Beko 1987, the really not doing well there, from a fair few months in the loft, could do with a better motor himself, because if I remember rightly, I think the armature is ever so slightly bent. So he sounds pretty bad as well. Or just rumbly bearings in general, and unless I'm very much mistaken, I reckon that motor will fit into this NV200. So again, the idea of this is to give it a go. And oh crikey, be careful how I take this apart actually, because a lot of this rear grille is hot glue and Sharpie, if we remember from whenever I did it the first time. So I'm going to get the motor out of the Beko 1987 NV200. I mean, they look very, very similar, the old pneumatic D21004N and well, whatever this was, the Iskra, who knows. But hey, they look the same, so I'm going to swap even the motor rubbers around, and in theory, well, that's a good sign, it fits that far. Got this bit together. I had a quick peek before we started using him. Peek under the... I forgot we put a brand new face kit on him, didn't we? When we refurbished him, because there's the old eyes in there. We need a bag, because there is no bag fitted. Do that. Pop, because again, I don't want to get the nice red filter dirty, because that's probably quite rare in itself. And then we can pop the lid back on, and just like when we put the Belarco motor in the Shark, does it sound any different from Benchy into the pneumatic? There's probably that much difference, really. God, what a waste of time. This one's obviously got more of a sloppier wind down, but in use there's not much difference. What I will say though is that the Benchy motor probably isn't going to last forever, because the carbons are like down to a little nub. So we'll get some fun out of it, but I don't think I'm going to be putting this motor very far, because in hindsight, now that I've taken it out, it's not actually that much worse than what was in here. But hey, never mind about all that. Look, we've got cream and brown Henry. Oh, I can lift you up a bit now so you can see the mess. Cream and brown Henry is out. I am, time of filming this, probably won't be by the time this goes out. He is vacuum of the month, but I want to steal his tools. Goodbye. Because obviously, yeah, Mr. Beko doesn't have any tools with him. He sort of just gets to use whatever tools I fancy. And oof, the conical hose is also a pain to fit on here. Oh, gonna go on a tool. There you go. Don't want to ruin the vacuum. Don't mind chewing the hose up a bit. Don't want to ruin the vacuum. Does it work? Work with an aero brush. Of course he does. He works very well with an aero brush indeed. But he's probably better suited to his ye old single pedal floor tool. In fact, we'll get rid of this green work carpet and I'll give my wool rug a vacuum. Can't imagine many of these ever saw that many wool rugs in their time, maybe in posh houses that they were employed in. Yeah, not nice on this rug. The ironies are lost on me that this tool that I went proper hardcore slagged off for being a rubbish carpet tool works a heck of a lot better than the old single pedal, bless it, commercially biased floor tool that came with these things. But I don't care really, that is the beauty of this NV200 at least. He's already very much not original. So it can be used with whatever is lying around. I mean, we could go back to putting on the floor tool from the Victor, which, yeah, it's just a narrower version of what these would have come with after the single pedal. Certainly tamps itself down a lot more than that, so yeah, crikey, we have gone off on a tangent, haven't we? We started off with a Victor and via Mr. Benchington we have ended, oh dear, with a pneumatic, and the elephant in the room is probably making many comparisons between these machines. I have tried not to. So far, both bring their pros and cons to the table, but I mean, you know, imagine a modern one of these rather than an actual older, decent one. They don't survive quite as well as they like you to believe. The motors go, the PCBs go, the floor tools scrub themselves down to nothing. I think the old Victor, there's a fair chance of getting away with all of those, and certainly addresses quite a lot of manoeuvrability concerns, but that is not the point of any of this really. Just so happens that I've replaced Benchy with the Victor and on the way put the motor to good use in one of my collection machines that needed it. But for now, I haven't put the lid on properly. Look, his last hurrah. Bless him, he's not even ready for it. I'm probably going to try and give the shell away. I'm sure somebody will want it. Probably long gone by the time this video goes out. If it's not though, hey, who knows? You could have it. This cable is probably going to be in there. There's just no motor. Have to provide your own. But for now, the Victor V9 is going to become, as the Vintage Appliance Emporium so eloquently puts it, the slag vacuum cleaner. The vacuum cleaner that gets abused and used for pretty much everything that one could want, and specifically in my case, cleaning out other vacuum cleaners. You are indeed, Mr. Victor, a vacuum cleaner as of now. So thank you very much again to Victor for sending me this through. Hope that my testing and reviews have been honest, brutal, unbiased, and well, whatever else, enough that you hoped when you set out for this. I hope that you've enjoyed watching and bringing nice new content rather than, you know, old, worn out, needing amendment stuff. And yeah, I get a nice new piece of kit for the channel. This could actually be put to use very well indeed. So yeah, thank you all, everybody, for watching. Victor for the vacuum, and anyone else who I forgot to mention. You will see this again soon. There'll be no more special Saturday video. I thought I'd put all that together. Yeah, so poor old Victor didn't have to wait a couple of months until the old schedule rolls around. That's not how this works when you get asked to demonstrate something. No, no, no. Things can be adjusted. So, thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed. I and the Victor, possibly not Benchy, but I would imagine definitely that Becco 1987 bloke, will see you soon. Bye bye.